Hi everyone, welcome back to another Minisode of Stop Shitting on Yourself,
where we answer a shit question with a glass of whatever the cheers to that.
Cheers.
I think we're both drinking the same thing today.
Staying hydrated with water.
Yes, because I need to hydrate since I am very dehydrated from last night. So thank you, water. Thank you,
water.
H2O. Thank you for life. Whew, struggling today.
Wow, what a night.
What a night. I know, right? Like all by myself, but all good because it was great. But what a night.
Exactly. Okay. So I thought for our podcast today, we've been sort of manifesting into the world for the past few weeks, finding you a boo.
Oh, yes.
And
thank you.
if it happens, well, I'm not saying actually, not if, when it happens.
Yes.
When it happens, inevitably you're going to have to go on your first date. So for the question today, what shouldn't you do on a first date?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one because, we're preparing to have that first date with my boo, whoever it's going to be, right?
Your forever boo.
Yeah. And so I need to think about that, right? Because that date's going to happen sometime soon, dear Lord. Thank you. Okay. So, what should you not do on the first date? So what shouldn't you do on the first date? Okay. I mean, there's a lot, but I think there's one that I definitely need to remind myself not to do.
Oh, okay.
And this is for every first date, maybe not the other ones, but every first date, I will remind myself of this. And I think you know this already about me because, we're friends and we're, always recording this podcast. But also those of you who have been listening, you all know that I'm never on time. Okay, I am never on time. I'm always at least 5 to 10 minutes late. Sometimes I'm 20 minutes late. I'm always late. I know. It's so bad. I have a problem with being on time. I'm working on it. Okay, I'm working on it. But that's something I have to remind myself. Do not be late on the first date.
Okay.
And I think it goes both ways, and it happens, right? There's traffic because it's picking back up, and sometimes you get caught with other things and it happens.
True.
But I try to remind myself, don't be late.
Okay. Well, okay. So that's kind of interesting because first dates, do you think, not that you're going to be late or anything, but do you almost expect that when you show up to the location, the guy's already waiting for you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't expect them to be early. I don't actually have an expectation of whether they're going to be there early or on time or late. I think I'm just worried about myself not being late, to be honest. I don't have the capacity to be thinking about somebody else and whether they're going to be there early. It's just more of, I have to focus on me not being late. I think to kind of add on to that, I don't mind if the other person is late just because I know how I am with time. So if my date is late on the first date, it's almost like a sigh of relief for me. Because I'm here oh, okay, that's totally fine. You're probably one of those people who are kind of late to functions here and there too. That's awesome. We're going to click.
All right. Okay. Although I do feel like there's always that grace period, right? Especially on the first date, I feel like it's a little bit more okay to be sort of a little bit late. But I think of it as past 20-minute mark and you're actually late.
Oh yeah, that would be really late for sure.
Yeah. But I feel like I'm early to everything, so
yeah.
Not that I'm going on a first date, but I'm just early.
Okay, so when you were going on first dates with people, right, before your marriage and all,
Yeah.
were you always the first one there, or were other people there before you? Curious.
I think dates are maybe like different from meetings, you know? So I would get there like at the time that we agreed to get there, but I would always get there early. So then I know I'm going to be there at the, time that we're going to meet up. So yeah, I guess I'm
Oh.
still early technically in that term. So it's not like I'm going to show up to that location like early.
Oh, I see. So you'll like park there and be 10
Right.
minutes early to the parking lot.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. It's like, don't be, but why not just show up to the location early?
I don't know. I guess that's a good question. I never thought about it like that. Yeah, I don't know. I just
Hmm.
yeah, if we're gonna say 11, then I'm gonna show up at 11, you know. I mean, it's nice if the guy's already there waiting for me, but I that hasn't even ever crossed my mind to just get to the location early. But yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting. Okay, okay. Because I feel like, knowing you too, like how you like to be early to things, that makes
Mhm.
sense to be early to the parking lot. But then I would have
Yeah.
just kind of imagined that you'd be at the location early.
Yeah,
Too.
yeah. But maybe that would just make the other person feel very like anxious, like, oh my gosh, she's already here, you know?
I guess so. It makes me feel anxious when my date is there
Yeah.
already. I'm here like, oh, okay, I'm totally rushing.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But are you the
okay.
type to text someone? Like if you're already there, would you be like, "Oh, I'm already here," to like let them know that, they're here, or would you just wait?
That's a good question. Because I don't know how many times I've been there earlier than. Oh, actually, no, no, no. I can think of one. I can think of one. Actually, I think on the first dates, or even just like on any dates, I'll let the person know, like, oh, I just got here. If I'm
Okay.
running late, I'll be like, hey, I'm running a little bit late, but I'll be there in like 5 minutes or whatever. But if I did get to a spot, I would let them know, because it's a first date. You don't kind of, you don't really know where the person's going to be, where they're sitting. So I think it's like a courtesy text of, hey, I just got here, but take your time,
Okay.
you
Okay.
know?
Yeah,
So
that
yeah,
makes
I think I
sense.
would let them know.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So when it happens,
Yes.
sometime soon, hopefully,
Don't be late.
I won't be late. I hope I won't be late.
Mm.
But what's another one for you? Like when you were, I guess, dating, thinking back to the single Jessica days.
Okay, I feel like I've talked about this before, but I'm just like I don't play games. Just to me, it's just playing games such a waste of time. So along the same lines, like don't do something you know that that's not you. For example,
Oh,
I feel like I hear my guy friends talk about this all the time, right? It's like, oh, when you go on a first date, like like girls just like to pretend that they don't eat.
they do? Oh, you know what?
Yeah, I feel like I hear that a lot. I'm like, just give me all the food. Yeah. If it's gonna be a bad day, at least I'm getting my money's worth.
And your time too. It's like you spend time eating good food. So,
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna eat, whatever. But like I wouldn't be the type to be like, because I know I like to eat, but I wouldn't be the type to be like, oh no, it's fine. I don't need all
oh,
that,
yeah, yeah.
Or like if you don't like sports, don't pretend like you're into sports.
Th- yeah. Yeah, you know what? That's actually very true. That is very true. Like you can be upfront and be like, hey, I'm not like super into sports, but I'll watch it or whatnot. But you don't have to act like you're so interested when you're actually
Yeah.
not about certain things. Yeah, that's true. Because it's nice to take an interest in what the other person says or what they like, but you don't have to fake that you also like it in order to have a conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I
true.
think I think it's about setting expectation, right? Like if you go into your first date and you're like, "Oh, I'm pumped about whatever you're talking about," to try to drive that connection, like if you do end up going on dates or end up, being together, then it's like, "Oh wait,
Mhm.
like that's not what you said."
Right, that's true. Then do you think, with that said, right? You said
Oh, don't do something you know that's not you.
okay, so then do you recommend that I should just be late? Because that's just me. So
Actually,
what do you
that's a
think?
I okay, so I wouldn't say like, don't try to like shoot for not being on time but I would
Yeah.
like go out of your way to try to be on time. You know, I would just be you, do you, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying like just do you, so just be late so
Yeah.
that they can also expect that if, we end up seeing each other and they end up being my forever boo, they will know forever and ever that I'm always going to be late.
Yeah. Or maybe set that expectation too. Like, hey, I am usually a little bit late, but I'll try to make it on time.
Oh, okay, that's a good way. That's a
Yeah.
good way.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So that, you know
Okay.
what? They'll be even more impressed if you do show up on time.
Wow, look at you, dating coach. Is that dang? Okay, let me see if that works the next time I go on a date. I'll
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
experiment it
Mm-hmm.
and I'll let you know how
Mm-hmm.
that goes. That's a good advice because I do know some like women who definitely aim for salads on the first date because they don't want to feel bloated or whatnot. I get it, being bloated is not the best feeling. However, the burger just tastes so much better than a
I
salad,
know.
okay? Like,
Yeah.
ugh. But also like men too. I feel like sometimes men put on like, you're trying to woo this woman, right? You're trying to
Mm-hmm.
you're
Put
trying to
on.
give the best first impression. And I feel like sometimes I feel like men can be just so much more nicer to you on the first few dates than they actually are. Like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, you held doors for me. That's so gentlemanlike of you. But why does that expire after a week of knowing each other?
That's so true. I mean, I think like you do want to try to put your best foot forward, right? That's why we call it a first impression. Um, but like to me, just do things that you're gonna be able to keep up with. You know,
Right.
I'm happy to say that after so many years of dating and being married now, that like my husband still opens the door for me. You know,
Aw,
he still makes sure that I get into the car first before he does. So like
go
that's,
Lawrence.
like go him. Exactly. That's something that he's been able to hold up. So
Wow. Wait, he has you go into the car first. He opens the car
yeah.
door for you
Mm-hmm.
and then he gets into the car.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn. What? Oh, wait, that
Yeah.
was a deep ass voice, but damn, what a gentleman.
Yeah.
You go,
So
Lawrence.
he still definitely opens the door for me, for sure.
Wow. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't think he's ever pulled out the chair for me though, but I don't expect him to.
Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah.
I don't know. I always get anxious. I feel like I don't know, a performance anxiety comes through because I'm like, I have to make sure I sit down at the right time when they push
Yeah.
in
Oh,
the
true,
chair.
true. Yeah. Or what if like you sit and then you're far and then you have to do that awkward thing of like sort of pulling your chair and
Scooching
walking
in.
closer.
Yeah. Like a penguin, like you waddle into your seat.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's so true. But hey,
Yeah.
go Lawrence for keeping up and being consistent with the whole
Exactly.
gentleman like thing. I don't know. Just being so like nice. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm actually genuinely surprised because not a lot of men do that nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe
And
it's just men
now
that I've been with. Like maybe I don't know. I don't know. I mean, are there men still out there that do that? You know what I mean? Obviously,
I mean, I think
Lawrence.
so. I think so. Well, you know what? That's a part of what we're manifesting out there to the world for
True.
Jamie,
True.
right?
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
so your
Mm-hmm.
boo is going to be super gentlemanly and open the door for you and forever on.
Yes. Yes, they will. Absolutely. I claim that.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 Okay. Okay. So
So,
that was a really good tip. And since you're like the relationship expert right now, can you give us a couple more? What should we not do on the first date? And I say we for all the single ladies out there, maybe all the single men out there, but what should we not do on the first date?
okay. Okay. I know this is definitely don't do, but
Okay.
don't talk about your ex.
Okay. Okay. I agree. Well, um, I, uh, okay, wait, sorry. I'm trying to figure out a way to talk about this. I feel like you can talk about an ex or your past relationships when it comes up,
Okay.
especially now at our age. I feel like I want to know, well, when was the last relationship that you've been in? What happened? Maybe even like what were your experiences? What did you learn from it? That kind of stuff, right? Because I
Okay.
do need
Okay.
to know somebody's past because their past experiences in a romantic relationship will affect the way that they are now, right? And that's what I do look for. So I think first date at this age, why not? Like, let's have that conversation.
Okay.
However, I do know what you mean in terms of don't talk about your ex. Like, do not ramble on about your ex. Do
Yeah.
not be nostalgic about your ex. Do not rant about your ex. And do not, I don't know, I guess, take up the whole entire night talking about your ex.
Yeah, yeah, because I definitely heard of like maybe not horror stories, but I've definitely heard like, oh, they were maybe saying like, oh, I loved it when my ex did
Oh
this.
my God.
Terrible. Don't ever do that.
On the first date?
I mean, I don't think it was on the first date necessarily, but you know, it came up during a date. It's like, oh yeah, like my ex used to do this and I used to really like it. Like, uh-uh.
And go.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do that. Or people who just like rant about their ex. Like, just, you know what? If you're going on a date, hopefully that means you're over about your ex. Um, so don't go talk about it, you know, in that way where you're like, oh my God, I hate my ex. He did blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, like, oh, he's such an asshole or she's such a like, we don't want to be name calling. No.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't ever like I don't think you should ever talk poorly about an ex because again, like there's so many ways to look at a situation. So you know, you might see it that way, your ex might see it another way. So to me, it's just like I feel like certain things like, oh, when was the last time you were in a relationship? Like that's okay. Or just, you know, talking openly about relationships, I think that's okay too. But it's just when you
Okay.
talk very specifically about, you know, like the good or the bad about an ex might get really touchy, especially on a first date.
I think so. Yeah. I think there's definitely a way to go about that topic. Like if you've had a bad experience with an ex and and that's going to give more insight to, like maybe what you're looking for now or what you've learned from that now, and you kind of center that around like an eye conversation, I think that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Right. Because everyone has different experiences with people and some are good, some are bad. But the lessons that we learn from our past relationships are maybe because like certain things weren't so great in that past relationship and that person might not have been that great either. So I think it depends. I think there's definitely like a very I don't know, there's a way to go about that conversation.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I think I agree. There are definitely like when things come up organically, I think that's what you're talking about, right? Like don't force the conversation into talking all about my ex, all about, you know, things that happen, but if it comes up organically, I feel like it's okay to touch on that subject.
that's true. I think so too. I agree. um and I think I think that helps you kind of understand the person and their personality, how they deal with certain things. And I think that also kind of leads into this one where, oh man, those people who like you're on the first or second date with them and all they can do is just talk about themselves, and it's all about them and their stories and their burdens and their
Oh,
likes and dislikes.
yeah.
But they're like, I had such a hard day and I'm blah, 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 blah. And they completely unload all their burdens on you
Oh
because
my gosh, yes.
they think they're having like a good conversation. But it's like, actually,
This is not your therapy session.
no, can you keep certain things to yourself?
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And not just in the first date, I think generally, um,
Mm,
you know, like I've definitely known people who are like maybe more acquaintances more so than like close friends, because you know, for sure, like do that with people who are close to you.
yeah.
And I think it's okay to unload. But you know, if it's people you don't know very well, I don't need to know your whole life story. I don't need to know everything, like every single thing that's bothering you up until this very moment. And then they, you know,
Right.
like they just totally change the mood and everything of like
Yeah.
the dinner or the lunch or whatever you guys are doing. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Have you had that happen to you, you actually?
Where somebody just kind of talks about themselves and just that. Um, I
Or
think
unloads on you?
I think a little bit. I've definitely had like a first, like, or, one of the first dates kind of be like that.
Mm.
I feel like people can confide in each other. However, on the first or second date, I'm not trying to be your therapist, nor am I trying to be somebody that you can just kind of talk about all your work burdens with. And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of happened here and there before, but not up to a point where I was so sick and tired of hearing about it. They did kind of share a little bit about their work life and just kind of what they're going through. And it was up to a point where I was like, oh, okay, I understand the stress that you have at work. Cool.
Mhm.
But it didn't go beyond anything where things got irritating or
Oh,
I
that's
just didn't
good.
want to see them
Yeah.
again. Yeah. So I guess it didn't get up to that point, but I know that there are definitely people who just ramble on and on and on and on about themselves and them only. So please don't do that on a first date, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Do that with your friend. Do that
Mhm.
with your parents.
Right. Like you're getting to know somebody on the
Yeah.
first or second date. So, you know, you can unravel all your work stressors and other burdens later when you develop that kind of
Later.
relationship with the
Yeah.
person. Right.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So I don't know about you, but I know when this whole dating thing will happen. Okay, manifesting, right? When this whole dating thing happens, bars are probably going to be fully open. They're like opening up, and
Mm-hmm.
some of them are actually fully open now, right?
Mm.
But I like to go to a place where they have drinks on the first date.
Yes.
I think it's very important, especially when getting to know somebody for the first time and you don't really know much about them. I think it's important to have some drinks right next to you. But how do you feel about that? Like having drinks on the first date? Should you not?
I definitely think that's okay. Like having drinks, if you're grabbing dinner, it's totally cool to have, drink with your dinner. Um, but I would, at least in my opinion, advise not to get drunk on your first date.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
looking at you and
Okay.
you're sort of responding like you don't agree, so
I
why not?
It's not that I don't agree. It's just more of me thinking back to the moments where I did get drunk on the first date.
Ooh. Like actually drunk?
Yeah, but like a composed drunk
Mm-mm.
where I wasn't completely letting myself go and I didn't reach that point where I would black out type of drunk. But I did get pretty drunk and I would get pretty drunk on like first dates, actually. I mean, a lot of
Oh,
great things
okay.
happen with it, but at the same time, um, I
Okay,
don't,
okay.
I don't know. But why do you say that?
Well, okay, so I think I say that because well, I think you touched on it a little bit, right? It's like some people don't know their limits. So, a shot can turn into two, can turn into five, and then, college days repeat again.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, but I think to have a drink to like relax yourself, to like make the whole entire mood more relaxed, like that's totally fine. But
Yeah.
I feel like it's so easy to like get out of hand. And then, kind of going back to the idea of like trying to stay composed and, maybe like put your best foot forward for your first date.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, like, you don't want to ramble on or talk about things that might be sensitive to the other person. And when you're drunk, it's a lot easier to make those mistakes.
Or what if somebody else is rambling and you need the drink to tune them out?
Oh, well, in that case, then yeah, drink away. Because I definitely am a rambler when I'm drunk. Like I for
Oh.
sure think I'm like, the professor of the world and everyone should listen to me.
Yes.
And I can ramble on forever when I'm drunk. And I'm also like the type to, once I do get up to a certain level of drunk, I'm like, let's
Uh-huh.
all drink.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So I feel like for my first day, at least, if I would definitely feel like I would want to like tune that part of Jessica out.
I see. But didn't you say too that you shouldn't do something that's not you?
That's also true. But I feel like it's okay to not get drunk on a first date, you know? It's not like I get
Okay.
drunk on the daily. So that
I
is
feel like I would say just get drunk if you feel like it. If you feel comfortable with this person enough, you know, and like your friends know your location and you're checking in with them and you know, you're fine. Like you're okay, you feel safe. Then yeah, I would say just get drunk if you wanted to and see how they handle their drunkenness.
actually, maybe I'll add to that. Don't get drunk by yourself on the date.
Yes. Okay, you don't want that. Okay, you don't ever want to get
Yeah.
drunk by yourself on the
Yeah,
first
yeah, yeah.
date.
For example, if the other person is just drinking a glass of wine and you're just there like taking shots, that's not cool.
Yeah,
But if you're like vibing with the other person and like you guys are both down to like do shots and whatever, like I feel like that's okay. So maybe
true.
like read the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Like read what's going on, kind of have a good feel for it, and
Mm-hmm,
then
mm-hmm.
act accordingly. Um, but man, I just say like, you know what, if you want to get drunk and like you're having a good time and you're vibing, right? Like they're getting drunk too, then get drunk and like have fun and see how much fun you can have with the person because you're right. Like when I get drunk, I love to encourage drinking.
I
But also,
know.
you've like personally kind of been there with me. But I also love to dance. So I'm here like
Mm.
I'm searching for music. I'm searching for me to move. I'm also very like loud and just kind of like woo all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And I want to know if the other person can match that energy too. So if you know that happens, then get drunk and you know what, you just might have to tune out somebody just spilling their guts about their ex. And if that's the case, then you got to have one too few many drinks. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. True. True. Okay. So, you know what? At the end of the day, it's your first date,
yes.
and
Yeah.
you know, just let whatever happens happens. If you need to get drunk, just to tune them out, do it. But I would just say I still stand by. Like, if you want to eat that burger, eat it. You know,
Yes.
like you don't
Yes.
need to order a salad for the sake of
Nope.
like I don't even know, you know? So there's certain things that I feel like I would stand by of like what you shouldn't do on a first date. But
Okay.
there's other things like, hey, you know what? You do you. At the end of the day, you're dating that person, right? So
That is true. I guess like you do you, boo.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
that what it is? Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Very on
right.
brand. We're
I
not an
guess
advice
so.
podcast,
No,
so
no, we're not. I mean, like we know that there are things that we should do and shouldn't do, but at the same time, like, do we always
right.
follow it? Not necessarily.
Yeah,
But we talk
exactly.
about it. So hey, here we
Yeah.
are.
So Jamie's gonna continue to get drunk on her first date.
And I might continue to be late on the first dates.
Yeah.
Just be
Which
myself.
we've established that that's probably okay.
I mean, I hope so. Geez, I don't know. I don't know. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I'm just, you know, manifesting a
Exactly.
date out there. You know, maybe a date will come into existence soon. Not maybe, it will, right?
It will. It will.
Man,
Exactly.
maybe I'm just manifesting this whole shit wrong. Like, you know.
It's not if, it's when.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I have to truly believe it. So anyway, I'll keep you updated about the whole manifesting and about like whether I find a boo to date. I don't even freaking know, but I'll keep you updated. But me,
Sounds good. And in the meantime, as always, drop it down below if there's any other advice that you have for first dates.
drop it down below, drop it down low, drop it to the floor.
Drop a comment down below in the comment section.
Are you thinking about dropping it down low? Is that what you're trying to do? Like
No.
turn up this weekend?
Maybe this weekend. Yeah, maybe.
You know what?
Maybe.
I'm down if you're down.
But in the meantime,
Yes, yeah,
yes.
right. Drop a
Yeah.
comment down below.
Drop a comment in the comment section.
Don't drop that. Okay.
And we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Sounds good. Bye.